This episode of the Two Dads Podcast is powered by the Celina-based Lodge 1473. Game days are back. And the Moose is the place to be. Whether you're rolling in with your whole crew or just sneaking away for a little me time, nothing wrong with that. You'll find wall-to-wall football, ice-cold drinks, and $12 buckets to keep the good times flowing. Not only is it our favorite spot at Two Dads, it's the ultimate local spot to catch every snap, every score, and every celebration. Oh, and here's something extra. Mark your calendars for Fall Appreciation Day. That's Saturday, October 4th from 12 to 4 p.m. It's a free family Moose party with bounce houses, races, contests, and even the Buckeye Soft Serve ice cream truck rolling in. Oh, and before that, Thursday, September 25th, the Moose is also hosting a meet and greet with the chairman of the board of directors, so mark your calendars. You'll want to be there. And as always, if you want to be a part of something special, something different, and something unique, join the Celina-based Lodge today. Hello and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 32, retry on my end. I mind you, everybody, I forgot to hit record the first time we did this. Bill Ray to my left. How you doing, Slick Willie?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm just getting over some sickness, buddy. It's been a long weekend. Haven't been that sick in a while, but I'm coming back on the mend. How about you? What'd you do this weekend?
We didn't do a whole lot. We stayed home. We went to Boardwalk for a little bit. Saw my buddy Derek Dickey was in town, so we haven't seen him for a while. Since I beat him 4-0 in match play in the Water Wash Cup.
Wow.
And then
I saw this little trophy behind us. If you're watching on YouTube,
yeah,
at Two Dads Pod.
I told the group, they said, why isn't your plaque up in the wall with a podcast? I said, sure, I'll throw it up there.
It's the wimpiest looking trophy I've seen all time, though. I mean, as far as standards, you've got cups and you've got, you got the Ray Cup banner over here on the right side. You got this guy, and he's kind of wimpy.
Well, hey, it's the first one I've won, so I had to
It's not about the
display
size, Bill, It's about the experience.
But no, it was a good weekend. We had the food truck event out on Saturday at JT DMH.
I still have no idea what that means, by the way. People ask me all weekend. They said, where are you at this weekend? It's just a bunch of letters. And then when I finally got the letters out, I didn't even know what they stood for.
Yeah, Joint Township District Memorial Hospital.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we were out there Saturday. It was a really cool event. They paid for all their employees to come out with their families and celebrate, just an employee appreciation. So we were out there with a couple other food trucks. No free ads, so we're not going to name drop them. But we did really well. People enjoyed it. We had a lot of good reviews about everything. Everybody said the chicken was good. They had a good time. Saw a couple people... Allie Moeller and those girls were in the DMs saying that they were eating the stuff out there from Maria Stein, so they enjoyed it. So we were glad to have everybody, and thank you to the hospital for putting on a good event. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't have to work, so that's the best kind of event. Instead, I decided to get sick, so it's great. Anyway, we have Molli Schleucher in here. How are you today?
Good.
You're joining the podcast from a couple different things. Tell us about yourself just a little bit before I jump into it, because I know you were coming. She came in a great car, by the way. Snazzy Corvette. I mean, wow. That thing came up. I wasn't sure if it was Bill Ray or not. I thought maybe,
I don't know. A Honda Accord. People make fun of me for driving my Honda Accord still. It's got 406,000 miles. It still runs like a top. Now, my wife gets on me, says, you need to go out and get yourself a truck, a new nice vehicle. And I'm like, I'm going to drive that Honda.
You got a name for your car?
Dies. Her name's Helen.
Have you named your car, Molly?
I have not.
No name for it. So
No.
Tell us about it. Obviously, we're going to get in. This episode's going to be a little different for those that are listening. Probably a lot more powerful. It's going to go a little differently because one of the things that we like to do is to give back to this community. We do so a lot in donation, but I also think giving back in understanding of what's available in the county, what's available as far as resources, and something that's very near and dear to our heart today is obviously helping kids. But before we get into that, Molly, you've joined us. We have Megan sitting on the side. She's going to join us here shortly, too, for a lot of fun things we have. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? I know you're from Celina. You obviously do some legal stuff.
I was not born and raised in Celina, but I've been married for, going on 16 years now. I take that back, 17 years here in December. I've been around Celina for quite a while, over 20 years, and I have one little guy with my husband, Adam Schliker, and his name is Cash Schliker, is our son. He'll correct me, he's 5.5, but he'll be 6 in 2 days, and that's very important because the 2 days makes him 6. So I'm an attorney out of Celina. I've practiced law for, it will be 16 years.
Wow.
Now.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school for undergrad in Wilmington. I did my master's down at Wright State, and my law degree is out of Cooley.
Where's your law degree? I'm sorry.
Now owned by Western Michigan.
Okay, cool.
Go Broncos.
I almost went to law school too at Ohio State. I swear, I really did. But funny enough about
I can't picture this at all because knowing how you can't read an acronym, you're going to have to read legal papers. I can see why this might not have worked.
I had a real passion for it. My uncle was he was on the, what do you call that? Like the people, the admissions, like he worked as like the admin to get you into school. I was in Phi Alpha Delta, which was like a legal group at Ohio State. And actually before I did it, I decided to do something else, obviously because the acronyms, but I decided to take up a sports writing gig, and that's what allowed me to meet Brandon Fusch-Cheatham on episode 21, because I did an interview with Brandon, and the rest is Logan Paul and Mr. Beast and all these big boys that I ended up working with. So oddly enough, legal speak and legal jargon, although I don't know how to read it, I'm very passionate about it myself. But welcome on. I'm excited to have you. Obviously, you've known a little bit of the TwoDads podcast prior to this. So you excited to be here?
I am excited. We listen to it in the car every now and then. My son and I do, going to and from school, just different
5-year-olds dipping it, 5.5-year-olds dipping it.
He's really, understanding everything, but he's mainly been around adults most of his life, so he kind of catches on to things, then asks me about it later.
That's kind of like Riker, though, Bill.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
Riker's very much similar. I mean, it's the same with my kids, too. They grow up not too fast, but they catch on quick. But for those listening, we've got Molli Schleucher here with us. And if you don't already know her story, you're about to. Molli is the heartbeat, or one of the heartbeats behind The Herd. It's a nonprofit born right here in Celina that's raising money, awareness, and serious hope for kids fighting congenital heart disease. Her son, Cash, who we'll get into here shortly, and we talked a little bit about, was born with CHD. And that diagnosis kind of flipped this family's world upside down. Instead of sitting back, though, Molli went to work alongside Megan Peters, who will be joining us here shortly. Together, they built a community. They raised over $150,000 so far for CHD research, and more to come, even more probably so, and turned family pain into purpose. So we're going to dive into Molli's journey, the highs, the lows, the surgeries, the sleepless nights, but also the hope, the fight, and the reason Megan and Molli, which I said sounds like a TV show, I still think, keep showing up for families going through the exact same thing. So Molli, thank you for being here. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
My first question to you, as we jump into this, can you start us at the beginning? Like, this is obviously a deep and touching subject. For those listening who like the humor and the comedy, we'll have more of those episodes going forward. But when did you first learn that Cass had CHD? What do you remember most about that moment?
Well, I had a great pregnancy, first of all. I was actually one of the lucky women that didn't have any of the sickness, anything like that. Easy pregnancy. If there is one, I had one. Easy birth. I had a C-section. Everything went great. They released us to go home with what was presumed to be a healthy baby. And we knew no different, that it was just going to be a healthy baby and go home and learn how to be parents, right? Because there's not a book to that. We got home. We were home less than 24 hours. And he just started not acting right. A little bit of an instinct kicked in there and decided that we needed to take him to be seen. It took us a little bit to get to that decision. Not too long, though, obviously. And
when you say he was like acting weird, what does that mean? For context for those listening, like when you say he wasn't acting quite right, what was it?
So he was really lethargic. I was having trouble arousing him at times that he was supposed to be eating. When he was eating, he didn't want to eat very much and was falling asleep while he was eating. Breathing was off. It was just a very unusual breathing pattern he was having, almost like he was struggling at times. And so took him in to have him seen. I was like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Glad I did, or glad we did, I should say. My husband and I took him down, decided to take him straight to Dayton Children's, got him down there. When we got him down there, we had under 30 minutes and he would have passed away. They said they would have deemed it to have been SIDS at that point because he was undiagnosed. It took 4.5 hours to stabilize Cash, and in that 4.5 hours, we still didn't have a diagnosis.
I know you're a strong woman, and obviously you have a strong presence, and you do. It's got to be tough to be a lawyer, judge, magistrate. I mean, what's that like going through on a parent level? Because I mean, that strips you. Like when my kids were sick this weekend, and I'm sick coming off of that. But jokes aside, Izzy got me sick. I mean, she's like hugging on me. I love you, Dad. I'm sorry I got sick. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm probably gonna get sick. I did. But even then, I feel better. Even me being sick, I want to take that pain away. I don't want them to feel a thing, right? What's that like, stripping away everything from this lawyer side of this tough person I'm looking at to like, how scary was that?
It was very scary. I'll be honest, I've never prayed so hard in my life and so consistently. For the 4.5 hours that we stood there and watched this go on, and literally watching. There's a room full of people, of countless numbers coming in and out consistently, trying to get an IV in. The only place they can get an IV in that has blood flow, literal blood flow, was on his forehead, between his eyes. And so, I mean, you are the most helpless you could ever feel in that very moment. And you're just praying that these people know what they're doing. And I'm not sure how faithful everyone is, but God had his hand on all of it for us, because if it wasn't for that ER doc that was in there that had history with CHD and had knowledge about it, they may never have started the correct medication that reopened his PDA, which was what had to be reopened in his heart, because it naturally closes in everyone. If they wouldn't have reopened that, he would have died right there.
That's correct. I mean, we're back to back. You have to understand, we are opening this podcast so much more to people. Like, I speak authentically to our viewers. The last 2 weeks, this one's is insane. I hate hearing about children. It breaks my heart, right? But last week we had a country star on. He's a rising country star. Had a miscarriage. At the same time he had surgery, and ironically, he was just scrolling through Instagram, and there was an opportunity, boom, to participate in the Grand Ole Opry, and he just went for it. And now he's changed his whole course of life. And in your case, if you hadn't had the right doctor, or if you hadn't had the right person there who had experience, I mean, you had two routes there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we have, I mean, it's different. You know, when we have one son, you have one son.
I have one son too.
There you go.
I have two kids, but I have one son.
Two kids, yeah.
Still counts.
Look at the commonalities we all have.
And we spent 2 weeks in NICU, right? So right when he was born, he was basically brought straight to Dayton Children's right away from Sydney. Didn't know what's going on. So just fearing that, you know, that first-time parent, right? You don't know anything, right? I even had a good mentor one time tell me, hey, when the baby comes out, he's going to be purple. Like, just know he's going to be purple. Yeah. So don't think that's something that's wrong with the baby. It just happens. And just when we were going through that, and we knew it wasn't life-altering, and we knew it wasn't, you know, something very serious, but it's still scary. You're going to Dayton Children's. You know, I know what I felt when I kind of heard that. You know, my wife is still at the hospital, can't go with, you know, her son to Dayton Children's, can't see him. We're watching on like a little camera. She is from Sydney. So when you hear those words, though, when the doctors first told you, you know, congenital heart disease, you know, what went through, you know, your mind, your heart, you know, your husband's probably as a family, because you probably had no idea what that was at the time, did you?
I didn't even know it existed. I had no clue that there was a CHD community out there that I've come to be a part of. I didn't know what congenital heart disease meant. All I knew in that very moment was my husband had pulled, and I didn't even know this at the time that he said it. I was told later, because I think my husband was protecting me a little bit, which was probably good in the moment. He had asked the doctor, you know, what's the diagnosis? What are we dealing with here? And the only response he could get was, if you want me to save your son, then you need to let me go back in there, because right now he's the sickest kid in this entire hospital. And that's all we knew for 4.5 hours. And once we got him up to stabilized, knew that we were out of what I'm going to say is the red, but really wasn't out of the red. We got put up into ICU, and we had to wait for transport. Dayton Children's does not have any cardiothoracic surgery down there. They have cardiologists, but no cardiothoracic.
What's that? Just for play stupid for me. What's that mean?
So cardiology is just a doctor that looks at your heart, reviews your heart, but doesn't necessarily perform the surgery. Cardiothoracic surgeries, they're breaking your chest open. They're performing actual surgery on the heart. So that's your heart surgeon. They don't have that down at Dayton Children's. We had to choose whether to go to Cincinnati or go to Nationwide Children's, and that was our choice. Dr. Butniks is the cardiologist that came in at like 2 o'clock in the morning. He was amazing and explained everything to us. And he's like, this could be CHD. I think that's what it is. The alternative is we've also started a medication for a brain infection. And we don't know the difference until you get to a place that is going to be able to perform the proper test. So we decided in the early morning hours, taking just kind of gut guidance and faith guidance, we decided we were going to take him over to Nationwide Children's. That's where we wanted transported. He wasn't stable enough that they wanted to transport him by care flight, so they wanted to take him by bus. We couldn't ride with him. We had to wait till traffic to clear, because he was only allowed to be on the road for so long. Once traffic settled to a point they were comfortable with him leaving, the ICU nurses went with him over to Nationwide Children's, and he was admitted there. They were already working on him at Nationwide by the time we made it to the room, because we had to go fill out the admission paperwork. So yeah, I mean, kudos to everything with Dayton Children's. It was never a thing against the hospital. It's just they didn't have the departments we needed for our son at that moment.
For people listening that might not know, though, I wasn't familiar at all either. And you had told me this is the number one birth defect, right? Like this is a huge deal. Sort of, look, it doesn't strike fear like the word cancer does, right? Like I feel like everybody's kind of conditioned to like when you hear children's cancer or leukemia or anything like that, boom, you immediately get into this like fight mode, like we're going to beat. CHD doesn't sort of have that yet, right? Even though it's the number one birth defect. Can you explain to listeners like what exactly is CHD, how common is it, and why is it something that everyone should be aware of?
So 1 in 100 kids will have CHD. It's still considered a rare disease, even though it's the number one birth defect. A lot of people can be, I should say not a lot, 33% will be diagnosed prior to birth, 33% will be diagnosed after birth, and 33% won't be diagnosed, and the child most likely will pass. That's kind of the breakdown of how that works out. We were in the 33% that was undiagnosed at birth. Like I said, sent home, thought he was great. Luckily, followed some instincts and took him down to the hospital and got that diagnosis. From that point, Cash needed surgery immediately to be able to survive. He was not able to survive without the medications, was not able to survive outside of a hospital, even if that was given to him at home. He needed so much support. At that point in time, it was a matter of when we were going to be getting our surgery. He, because of how it happened with us particularly, he had full kidney failure, he had full liver failure. He did not have any blood flow in any of his extremities at that point. Part of his spinal column took a hit, spinal cord took a hit because of the lack of blood flow. Literally, he was basically had blood flow in lungs, heart, and head. And we didn't know how much was cut off to his brain at that point. That was an unknown factor. So when we got this diagnosis, it's like, okay, now when are we getting surgery? It's a natural question. And what's that look like? We had to have a full open heart surgery. It's a 7.5-hour surgery. Day 12 was the first day he was strong enough to actually potentially make it out of surgery.
This is 12 days after birth?
12 days after birth.
Open heart surgery?
Yes. He needed it the day he was born. We didn't know that. Day 3, when we took him down to Dayton Children's, he needed it then. But if we would have given it to him then, the problem is he had already taken such a hit on his kidneys and his liver that they hadn't regained any strength on their own. We would have been looking at potentially having transplants or long-term care needed. And we do have long-term for kidney and liver still, but a different view of that long-term care that would have been medication-based and not just strictly follow-up, which is what we finally have made it to with the kidneys specifically. The heart is the size of a walnut.
I was just going to ask you, how big is the heart even at that point? What are you using, like tweezers and stuff?
Size of a walnut. His surgeon, Dr. Schliker, who is amazing. He's actually
clearly. I mean, that's nuts.
Not just because what he did for my son.
Sure.
He has particular surgeries he can specifically do that he's like 1 in 5 surgeons in the world that's capable of performing those heart surgeries.
And you were just you didn't even plan this though. You just showed up and they were like, "Hey, doctor's here. He's good at this."
The doctors choose. You're presented to a board. Your kid's presented to a board. I don't know if they give a name or it's just a number, kid 1, 2, 3, whichever it may be. And you're presented to a board. Those cardiothoracic surgeons then say, I'll take that kid, I'll take that kid. Dr. Schliker, for whatever reason, chose Cash. And thank God he did. He did an amazing job, but he is one of those surgeons that actually only does surgery by hand, so he doesn't use a robot. So even though it's the size of a walnut, each of those little sutures he did by hand. He does not do it robotically.
That's wild. I never knew that of, one tooth, baby 1 through 5, right? And you choose. I could think where there would be some logic behind that you best suit doctor for best suit situation, right? Like he's best for this situation, correct. She's best for that situation, etc. But man, the pressure of that, like I'm thinking of a walnut, like imagine taking a scalpel to a grape and like how delicate that would be that's what my brain's wrapping my head around there. So with all the other stuff that you talked about with him, how many surgeries has he had to have so far? I mean, to break all that down, I mean, obviously that probably wasn't the only one, I would assume. That actually has been our only one. We've been very fortunate. I was wrong, so that's great.
The material he chose to use
I'm glad you're wrong.
Yeah, a trial material at the time. It was brand new. And so that material, they didn't know how it would hold. may not have held at all. They weren't even sure. Luckily, it's held really well. Luckily, also, Cash has done a slow growth. Big growth spurts are not our friend because big growth spurts mean the heart grows, and those parts that have been repaired may not grow with him because he has a biomaterial that is basically human grade, all DNA scraped off of it, and the hope is his DNA will, over the years, incorporate in, and it just grows as part of his heart. We have no way of telling where we're at in that process at this point, but we still have not been released. And to be clear, when you're released with CHD, you still go back annually. We're not released even at that point. We still go back a couple times a year. So his heart still isn't at the point that it's reached the stability they're comfortable only seeing him once a year versus multiple times. But yeah, he's only had the 7.5-hour surgery. But out of that also, because of damage done to the rest of the body, we've had multiple procedures. When I say multiple, it's more like several. We've had to have procedures, on his throat. He's had 2 spinal surgeries that were done at the same time. When he was 9 months old, he wasn't crawling due to the damage to his spinal column because he had a tethered cord. And so they had to go in and release that spinal cord. Your spinal cord should float in the middle of the column. His was attached at one point. So in the middle of COVID, had spinal surgery, and he had to lay flat for 3 whole days. You couldn't let him move at all. He crawled for the very first time in the hospital. And if we wouldn't have done that surgery, he would have never walked. He would have never potty trained. He would have always been dependent on colostomy bags and everything like that. The number of procedures we've had, and to me, a procedure is anything that's not an open heart surgery or spinal surgery, multitude of those. Wow. But actual surgeries, those are the 2 major surgeries he's had. He has a 15% chance of not needing another one. So we have an 85% chance we're having more surgeries. So it's not a matter of if, it's more of a matter of when. And, my big prayer is, slow growth. Slow growth is our friend, and that hopefully gets him farther along that he doesn't need it.
Let me ask you this. I think to put into perspective of viewers who have healthy children or are about to have children or maybe in the middle of a pregnancy, moms, dads, everybody listens to the podcast. We have a wide range of audience. A lot of people look at kids like Cash and think, wow, he looks healthy, right? The doctors sent you home at the time when said, this is a healthy baby. Have a great day. Thanks for coming to the hospital. What's something about CHD that people don't see on the outside?
You're not going to see, all their scars are on the inside. They don't carry, it's not on their face, not on their arms, not on their legs, anything like that. They look healthy. If they don't look healthy, you miss the mark where they started falling off. So something kind of crazy about CHD in general is when we're looking to see if our child is healthy, if there's something that's concerning, it's not, is their respiratory off? Their digestive system is the very first thing that's going to come out when their heart's starting to fail. So when his digestive system starts messing up, tummy aches, anything of that nature, your mind starts running. Okay, is this a tummy ache, or is this because something else is going on that's deeper in there and I need to look into that? I've always said the great part is the great part about something we started, or I should say this is probably more on my side, is a group that CHD moms can chat, and you don't have to quantify the health of your kid. Because if you ask me right now, Cash is great. He's doing really well, very healthy. That has an asterisk to it. Sure. The asterisk is it's still not if, it's when that next surgery is coming and how that's going to happen. Is it going to be fast? Is it going to be a slow one? Meaning, is it going to come upon us when we're not going to expect it, or are we going to be able to prepare for this one? The last one, obviously, we didn't prepare for. We had the same clothes on for 2 days in the hospital because we literally went to the hospital thinking we were coming home that night. So it's just, you hope that you can prepare for it. And it's nice to have that little group there to the side that it's like, okay, I can tell you my kid's having a good day. And that still comes with everything else with it.
Do you have any weird memories about the hospital time? Was there any food that you're sick of or can't eat anymore, or just
my husband will not eat Panera ever.
I was wondering.
They got a tomato bagel sandwich that I love at Panera. I couldn't probably go without Panera.
I love that
Panera
broccoli cheddar.
was across the street, and he's like, I can't ever do Panera. But we made the best of it, and that's just kind of who we are, and as people, I would say. We didn't realize at the time, and that hospital, meaning nationwide, was phenomenal, and we knew everything we needed to know. We were never lied to about anything. However, they also gave it to us in a way that didn't make us scared every second that we were there, we were losing our child. So we're in what we call the tent camp. Literally, you don't have walls. You just have these curtains all the way around you, and that's your privacy. We were like, oh, we're in the tent camp. This is great. We'd listen to other people's conversations. Eavesdrop on the next tent camp.
I'm a lawyer. I can help you over here.
And, we would sit there. For the first 2 days, we didn't know the TV we could use. So we pulled the chairs next to him and we just sat and talked. You were a 2-on-1. We had 2 nurses assigned to our child 24/7. They didn't look at any other child. They were only in our little tent. So they were our tent campers. So we talked to them all day long. You got to know all the nurses. You got to know their life story, where they were originally from and everything, which was great. I mean, you felt comfortable with them. And these nurses would come up and they would, touch his arm, touch his leg, talk to him. They treated these babies as human beings, which, only makes the experience, if you have to be there, better. But Adam won't eat Panera. And we laughed about being in the tent camp. When we finally got a door, it was like, okay, now what do you do? Because we didn't have the entertainment of watching everything else go by in front of us. What we didn't realize is the reason we were in a tent camp is because he was so serious and in such a dangerous area, they couldn't put us with walls and doors because they couldn't get all the machinery in when he would fail. We had no clue. We just sat in our tent camp thinking this is what it was supposed to be.
This ad break is powered by the American Cornhole Association. Your board might be regulation, but are your bags? Let's be real. If you're still chucking the plain old red and blue ones, you might as well be tossing bean-filled socks from Grandma's sewing kit. At the American Cornhole Association, you can make bags that scream you. Your logo, your team, your wedding theme, your inside joke about that one uncle who can't throw straight. If you can dream it, the ACA will print it on a bag and let you launch it at 21 feet of glory. These aren't some backyard hack jobs either. They're regulation spec filled with premium resin and printed in HD so clean you'll want to frame them before you throw them. So why blend in when you could be the guy showing up with bags that actually match your vibe? Custom cornhole bags, serious play, serious style, zero excuses. So head up playcornhole.org right now and design your set before your buddies clown you for rocking Walmart specials. That's playcornhole.org using code TwoDads at checkout for up to 15% off your entire order. It's the ACA, American made, dad approved.
So was there, this is a lot that you and your husband are going through, obviously, especially with your first child. Was there ever a moment though, when you think back through it, where you just wanted to give up? Like you just
No.
couldn't do it?
No.
Not
once.
I've thought the same thing. It's when I spent time down there in Dayton Children's, we were, and I'm not quantifying the level, but it's, you had jobs still. Your husband had a job still. There's still things at home that still need done. I had to drive to Dayton every day after work, come back, stay there till 10 o'clock, get home at midnight, go to work at 5 a.m., But I think that relentless passion for, at the moment, the only thing you probably care or love about is that important for you.
Right.
That you're literally going to wear the same clothes for 2 or 3 days. You're going to eat Panera for 7 days straight. Nothing else matters. But what advice would you give to any parent out there that's going through a similar situation that might be struggling? Because I think some parents maybe not built for it. They don't have the confidence for it. You know what I mean?
I guess let me first say this. I thank God that I got Cash. I feel privileged that I got him and that Adam got him, that he is our son. We're privileged because we have the personalities that don't give up. And that's a privilege that we got, one of the fragile packages that he's put together to make sure we took care of. And we did it effectively and gave him every chance we possibly could. So I don't look back and I don't think, man, I would have given up or anything. And any parent that's in it, what I would say is know that you're not alone. Know that there is a group out there that you can reach out to at any given point. I mean, I've had mothers that have called me late at night and everything. And it's like, I don't know what to do with this. This was told to me today. I don't have your answers. I'm not a doctor. But I've been in your shoes and I can empathize with you and I can let you vent it out and you don't have to quantify anything else to me. And what I would say is if you don't agree with something, you're questioning it, this may not be the popular decision or opinion, but it was mine throughout it. I'm paying each one of these doctors and nurses to do a job. Yes, I don't get to choose them, but I'm paying them. And if you're not doing an effective job that I'm pleased with, someone else will. And you're the only advocate for that child. You're the primary advocate. All they can do when they're that little is cry, and you don't know why they're crying. If you're not doing that, find someone that will do it for you, because they can't advocate for themselves.
I think it's a really good way to put it, that I'll say you leaned into the situation, right? Where a lot of people, you've helped build the herd and start that, and we'll get into that. A lot of people would lean back, and a doctor would say, hey, sorry, there's nothing we can do for your kid or whatever. And you're like, wow, okay, this is what we have. Where I think your mentality is a little bit more bullish, saying, no, there is. We'll try this doctor. We'll try this doctor. Like, I won't give up. I'll go until time runs out, but I won't give up. And I would say encourage everybody out there to take that same mentality. And I would even say take it outside of the hospital.
Absolutely.
Take it in life. If it's your marriage, if it's your job, or whatever it may be, a lot of these life lessons, that we talk about in here portray outside of the situation we're talking about.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
that mentality you have, I think, is admirable and incredible.
Well, you could say you're the only advocate for yourself. You could say you're the only advocate for your child in the end. I mean, at the end of the day, what you're saying is this person's providing a service.
Yeah.
Regardless, of their background, history, whatever, it's still a service. And if you're not satisfied with the service, to me, it's no different than anyone that provides a service. You know what I mean? What's one everyday moment with cash that most parents might take for granted? Obviously, slow growth is something that you're sort of hoping for, right? And growth happens in a child regardless. But is there any differences between what cash can or can't do now with a child with CHD, or have you had to adapt to anything? Is there anything that people take for granted?
Sports-wise, we're not sure what he's going to be, if there's going to be any restrictions. Right now, he doesn't have any, but he's 5.5, soon to be 6. So
Thank you for the clarity. Cash, when you listen to this in the car.
He will be 6 in 2 days. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't have restrictions, but like he likes to participate in karate. So he has to wear a chest protector underneath his shirt. We found where they make like padded shirts. So if you got hit there, it's not a direct hit. There's an absorbent material that it's kind of like bubbly or whatever. So he wears that under it. If he were to play baseball, like he'd probably have to have a chest plate and everything. But I would say outside of, the world of sports, which is kind of what everyone lives in when they have a little kid anymore, what is taken for granted that I've come to appreciate is a good night. A lot of kids, they sleep, or even if they're not, you're annoyed with them, go back to sleep, go there. A good night. So many nights we have went to the hospital at midnight, 2 a.m. We had a year there from January to October that he literally every 2 weeks was in the hospital with respiratory distress. He would shut down where he couldn't breathe at all. And we'd have to rush him to the hospital so they could open his airways back up due to the damage that's been done to his airways, having been emergency intubated so many times. So a good night's sleep. Just him getting a good night's sleep.
That's a lot of parents' answer too. I know it's different than what you say there, but that's parents just take for granted since the sleep sometime. How's your, for your husband, for your family, his cousins, everybody else that's related to him. How was that to adapt to that? Because I had a niece with, some special needs that took our family some time to get acclimated to, and a couple cousins, didn't really adapt to it very well. They saw them as being different and not the same as everybody else, where my dad taught me it doesn't matter the situation of anybody, that we treat everybody the same with respect. Did that happen in your family? And, how did they adapt to that, I would say?
Cousin-wise, I don't think any of them treated him any differently, partially because at the time that he was most critical, which was, that first year of life, because we were quarantined before COVID hit. For 6 months, we weren't allowed to have him around kids anywhere. I stayed at home with him.
Pre-COVID baby.
Yeah, he was a pre-COVID baby, which the week we got out of our medical quarantine, COVID hit. So he stayed in isolation. So that was odd and that was hard. And, not everyone, COVID was a controversial time. Not everyone always agreed with all the decisions we were making. My thing was, whatever decision we make, as long as it's in the best interest of Cash, I could care less what your opinion is, and never have cared, never really have looked back and said, it's a whatever.
That's why she's on the podcast, baby.
It kept him alive. That was my job.
Do you think being home for COVID helped, though? I mean, you were there all the time, and you couldn't go anywhere. Would you have been there the same amount? I mean, would you gone back to work? I'm not saying it would have kept him alive, but I'm saying, do you think it helped, having to be at home for so long and kind of keep an eye on the symptoms that you may not have been able to differentiate if you didn't have so much time with him?
I would say yes and no. I think it would have been good for him because finding as he's grown, he's a very social kid. He would have probably really liked to have been out even at that young of an age. But I also think it did help out because, like I said, at 9 months, we were getting, which would have been June, we were getting a surgery in June of 2020. So I don't know. I think it would have, it was to our benefit, definitely, to have that extra time at home with him.
Let me ask you this, because this comes to my mind just kind of outside of the notes and stuff that we take for this. Going back to Bill's question about adaptation, it does strike me. For parents that have a child with special needs, disabilities, diseases, rare diseases, I mean, there's a spectrum of things that can obviously go wrong. What did you have to do with your husband to keep this thing so strong? What did you guys have to adapt? I mean, because it's really easy to get sad. It's really easy to get it down. It's really easy to be, his cup's not full, but yours is full, and you're ready to be bullish, and he's ready to give up, or you're ready to give up. You know, you see where I'm going with this. Can you give any advice to parents that are out there that are kind of going through something similar? Because I think, in my opinion, part of this, obviously not having the child that's gone through that, but part of even parenting is like that stability of the mom and the dad. How do we work together well? Well, you throw in I don't want to say a wrench like it's a bad, complex thing, but that you throw in this complexity of having a child that's going through this. How do you stay strong as a parent with one another?
I don't think you have a choice. It's a choice you make the day you get the diagnosis. Are we going to stay or are we not? And, you know, a choice that Adam and I had made when we made it over to Nationwide, and I don't even know why this conversation went the way it did. One of us had said something along the lines of like, why would this happen to him? And the end of our conversation was that question can never be asked again. It gives us nothing. It wastes time. It wastes energy. And from that point forward, that's kind of the attitude that was taken is, you know, hey, he had to go back to work. I stayed at home. And I knew that I was going to have to pick up somewhere and he was going to have to pick up somewhere. And that was our only choice, because if we didn't pick up where we needed to and put our needs aside and put his at first, at that point in time, we would have lost everything. We could have lost our marriage. We could have lost our child. I mean, and then where are you at? Because you were selfish and you felt that you needed something extra. And I would say the base of that for both of us, unknowingly at the time, was our faith. Because we were both separately relying on that in manners that we didn't realize the other one was. And even with that fact, you know, with Cash, you know, you'd said in the beginning, like one of you had said something about, you know, you don't want your kid to go through any type of pain. You'd said that about being sick. Here's the thing. I don't want Cash to ever go through pain. I don't want any kid to go through pain. Would I change that for him? No, I wouldn't. Because he wouldn't be the kid he is today. He wouldn't have the audacity he has. He wouldn't have the spontaneity. He wouldn't have the persistentness. I mean, he is the most persistent kid, and he is wild.
Gee, I wonder where he gets that from, Mom.
But he is wild.
I'm not happy with your service, Mom.
Yes, exactly.
I'll take it to Dad.
Exactly. I mean, the kid's wild, but he is the person he is because of what happened to him. And he has a respect for other kids that I don't think necessarily comes naturally without that. And his faith, I mean, I know I've said faith here a few times, and we are faithful people. We didn't push that on it. He is a whole nother level that was not pushed upon him, and he relies upon that. I wouldn't take that away from him. If I take that away from him, I don't know what kind of kid I have. It is him, and he has an ability to be a voice if he chooses to use that for other kids that didn't have that privilege, I'll say, because maybe their parents didn't have the time or the ability to do what we've been able to do for him. So if he takes that and runs with it, everything was worth it.
You know, it's weird for those listening before I toss it over to Bill for the next. I can't help but think that this conversation is a little bit bigger for everybody, whether you have a child with CHD or not. There's a lot of lessons I'm taking here today that I'm sitting here going, man, that's good. Even from a marital standpoint, whether your kid's healthy or not, right? Like setting aside your selfish ways or being able to be better satisfied with service of any level, especially if you're going through something that's related to the hospital or a child or perseverance. There's a lot of good nuggets here today, so I hope you guys are tuning in and enjoying this. Bill, I know you wanted to say something as well.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just for any of the listeners out there, because a lot of these people, you know, they'll reach out to us after an episode and say, hey, what about this? What about this? And sometimes we connect people, right, through, you know, the waves of this podcast, and that's kind of what we do it. You know, if someone out there, a follower or a listener, wants to help support a CHD family, right, or anybody within the program, what are helpful things they can do, and maybe what are some don'ts, right? I don't know if there's anything that people are like, we probably shouldn't do that, just so they know, so they can approach the situation appropriately if they choose to.
I would say if the family is in the hospital, an easy way to support is call down to the hospital. They do gift cards down to the cafeteria. You can use it for snacks in the gift shop. I mean, you have nothing else you're doing. So, and you also find you don't have any of the nice things you have at home. So you may not have the pen, the paper, whatever. That's a nice way to support if they're in hospital. If they're out of hospital and they're home, the best way to support, respect their decisions and understand distance doesn't mean that they don't want you. It just simply means that's what's best for them and their child at the time. And you can still support them. You can send, hey, I'm going to send you pizza tonight. Hey, I'm going to have your yard mowed so you guys don't have to worry about that next week. I'll come mow it, whatever. Distance doesn't mean that they're pushing you away. Distance just means at this very moment, I have to be focused here and having, whether it be a conversation or someone in my house, that puts my child at risk. I mean, for us, if he got sick, they told us if he got sick, then there's a good chance he may not come back from that when we were first bringing him home. That's why we were quarantined. So that distance we put between ourselves and people wasn't because we didn't want him around. It was because of what we had to do. So I would just say that's the big thing, because it is very isolating. Don't forget to reach out by text. Don't forget to reach out by a phone call. Understand, just because they don't want you at their house doesn't mean they don't want you in their life.
I want to bring Megan Peters on now, because this is getting to the point where you're going from surviving Cash's diagnosis to saying we need to start something bigger. And I know that Megan's a big part of this. So we're going to do something we've never done, which is not have a fourth mic when a guest shows up, which is great. So we're going to take Bill off for a second, and then we're going to bring Megan on to backfill Bill, and Bill may join us here in a little bit, but we want to bring her on for the other side of the story, which is the herd, which is a big part of this. So we're gonna bring on Megan Peters. Bill, thanks for being here, and we'll see. Let's give a little cheer for Bill. Oh, that's the wrong one.
That was the perfect one.
So let's bring on Megan. First of all, how are you? You've been sitting on the side watching the podcast from afar. How do you think it's going so far? Mid-podcast review.
Yeah, it's going great. All the goosebumps. Trying not to get the little teary eye Molly doesn't like to see. But
That's okay.
Yeah.
Teary eye's okay. We have many tears on here before. That's great. Before we jump in the next question, obviously you're a big part of the story as we get to the herd and we move on just from surviving Cash's diagnosis. How did you two meet? How do you come into this fold without getting too deep down the road? Give us some context.
My husband and my 4 girls, we moved here about 8 years ago from Kansas. My husband runs MVP Dairy, and so we had met through mutual friends. Actually had looked at their house prior to moving here. We, almost bought their old home. But yeah, it was just through mutual friends. And then, like I said, she was pregnant. I watched some kids at home there for a while before I started my own business. And she's like, you want to watch Cash? And I'm like, well, before it wasn't Cash. You want to keep the baby? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, and then things happened.
So your relationship starts at babysitting. Watching children.
Well, yeah, like mutual friends. Like we hang out, we do things together, weekends, whatever. But the friendship definitely grew once Cash came along, for sure.
Awesome. So this is a good point to kind of bring it all back together. So at what point did you or both of you go from surviving Cash's diagnosis to saying we need to start something bigger? You kind of teased it in a little bit, like your experience was yours, but there has been this underlying tone that you want to give back or do more. And I had mentioned earlier that you had raised over, I said 150,000. It's actually 360,000 for this research. But talk to me about the beginning of all that. Where did this start where you needed to felt like you do more?
For me, it was instant. Because so when we first had our diagnosis and our experience started with Cash, it was very isolating. Not just because we were actually isolated and then had COVID, it was just isolating because no one understood it. And so no one understood what we were going through when he looked healthy. Like I said, when they look healthy, that's great. That doesn't mean that nothing's going on, because it's all very internal. It's all hidden behind the scar. And so his first heart surgery, which is called heart anniversaries, they call them heart anniversaries, is October 1st. That's when he got his surgery. So October 1st of 20, we did a very small kind of private family walk with close friends only and family because we were all still on the edge of COVID and everything. Actually, Cash didn't even attend because he ended up being sick.
Thanks, Cash.
Yeah, thanks a lot for running that one.
I mean, anytime something's coming up, he'll get sick.
Yeah, he gets sick.
I do the same thing. I do the same thing. Yeah, exactly. If I have a responsibility.
He also knows if I'm leaving, then he's like, yeah, watch this, Mom. So anyways, we did a 5K that day because we had originally signed up to do a 5K that CHD families do, and everyone has their CHD team that they do. And we had Cash as starter, and we're like, okay, we'll sign up. We'll go do the 5K down in Columbus or Toledo. They're only in the larger cities with the pediatric hospitals. Obviously, everything canceled because of COVID there. So we were like, fine, we'll do one locally. Just did it in our church hall there. It was local, just family, friends, people we knew. No public was invited. And from there, I'm like, we need to continue this. This was a good thing. And we did it the next several years as just a 5K. And as they were opening back up, everything was after COVID, and they were having these, there wasn't an option local. All of our families have to drive 2 hours to get to these. So I contacted, and I'm like, we'll do it local, same day. We're just going to do it here. People sign up through you, and I'll call in their times or whatever if they want them called in. And that went on for several years there and kind of grew, and we were raising money through that, donating back to projects that were being done for CHD, donating to research and everything. And then it really grew when kind of Megan came along here, and she's
I'm a
big
ideas.
Dreamer.
So you're the visionary.
She's the visionary. Give me the paperwork.
That sounds like someone I know. Bill might be off screen over there. I'm waving to you, buddy. Fist bump.
But she's like, I think we can do something bigger. And she came and said,
Liz Schleucher and I, we were just kind of chatting, and I'm like, hey, I think we could make this way bigger than it is. And I'm like, why don't we do a dance or something in February? Like, get the community involved. Have people like to dress up, do fun things. Let's have a bigger fundraiser. Brought that to Molly and Adam looked at us like, you're insane.
thought we were nuts.
You're not going to sell one ticket. There might be 20 people
Adam.
there.
Yeah.
So look at it now, Adam.
Now you're on a podcast. How did you come into the fold, though? So are you local? You from Celina? Where you said you'd moved, and now you were local at this time, right?
Yes.
And so how did you get involved together? Obviously, Cash is out of the hospital. You've got to go back to work. This is a trusted friend. You had mentioned, you said, I think it was before the podcast, you said you're not going back. He's not going to a babysitter, right?
Yes,
or like somebody else. How did you get involved in this storyline?
Just telling Molly, like, I wouldn't want my own child to have to go to a daycare. That's why I always stayed home with my kids. Like, I just make it work. And I was just like, this little boy needs to have safety and stability and away from other sick kids, not catching things. And since then, Cash has just become like my fifth kid.
How many kids do you
have? I have 4 girls.
So he's your boy.
He's
That's
the
good.
boy.
That's good. It's good that he's got the tenderness. Although, how old are your girls?
23, 18, 11, and 8. But they all love Cash.
Yeah.
My 18-year-old and Cash have a very, very special bond. She babysits him a lot. And then the other 2 younger ones, the 3 of them, Cash, they fight like.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my daughter's
like
7.
siblings.
She's a demon.
Yeah.
She is an absolute demon. I was like, I don't think she'll care about congenital heart disease. She'll still slap him, like, you know what I mean? So I was wondering, I can see why the 18-year-old has a good bond. Obviously, the older and the wiser these girls get, they get better. But I tell you what, a 7-year-old girl, I was not ready for that myself as a parent. I mean, she beats me up sometimes.
Buckle up.
That's right. So tell us about scaling. Okay, you are the books, and you obviously have gone through the trauma, and you've shared some of the trauma, and obviously enough to be a believer in it. How did we scale? You guys have said, I'm the books and I'm the visionary. Where's the next phase of this go? You started some 5Ks. You've raised some money. Adam, for better or for worse, you're wrong. And, you got some ticket sales out of this. When did you know, as the visionary side of this, that this could be bigger for not just you, Molly, but maybe for Celina or Mercer County?
Right away. I think that's how it's always been with Cash, is that he has, I don't know, there's just something about this kid that feeds into the rest of us. Like, we're being guided to do these things. I don't necessarily like, it was all our idea. I feel like we've just been guided by God every step of the way to keep pushing this to something bigger. And now we're like touching so many other lives that Cash has no idea what he has done.
Yeah, but in the same vein, what you guys have done too. I mean, you can appreciate what he's going through. How do you scale? Like, how do you go from paper of like just a few runs? Like, what do you guys do now to be actively to continue raising funds or to change it up? I guess you obviously want to continue to evolve this, I don't want to say business is a 501c3, but it still runs like a business in a way.
So we have a small committee that now we call ourselves the Herd. Before it was Cash's Heart Herd. But there's some of our friends, fellow moms that get together and we create the idea, everything that needs to go on to create the event, the space, the tickets, everything. So there's a Herd family.
Yeah, I should say that earlier. The Herd.
The Herd.
That's the big part of this. Where does the Herd come from in the very beginning? Obviously, scaling it will continue to change for years. You sound like you have a committee, an events committee that comes together and agrees on what you can and can't do, or what is a good idea versus a bad idea. Where's the Herd come from? You teased it a little bit with Cash's Heart Herd, but go on and tell me where this comes from.
So it started as Cash's Heart Herd. That was our team name. And then when we started raising money, it became more of a logistics thing for the bookkeeper over here and the legal side of it. I said, I'm not comfortable with this money coming in and not having a proper 501c3 set up. So we set that up even before we started the big events, just so we had this funnel that we could, or this place we could put this money and people would know and could trust it. We have to give our tax returns and all this type of stuff, because we've always said, all of us on the committee, transparency with us and where this money goes is very, very important to us. And so we ended up starting Cash's Heart Herd. Then we ended up shortening that to the Herd because we had expanded beyond CHD. So we kind of have three facets that we focus on through this. So Cash's Heart Herd focuses on research for congenital heart disease. And to be clear, congenital heart disease is not the same as heart disease. They're actually two totally different things. Not every kid that has congenital heart disease has heart disease. They're technically different. But to focus on CHD research, to focus on raising awareness and education within our community, and then also to help support these families. That part is what expanded us to the Herd. We went from supporting CHD families to now we support critically ill hospitalized children that are local. So any of our local kids that are in the hospital, cancer, immune deficiencies, that are critically ill and hospitalized, if someone lets us know about them, or if we've come across it on Facebook or whatever, we reach out. So if anyone gets a weird thing from the Herd or from Molli Schleucher, it's because I'm trying to figure out where you're at so that I can send a grant down. We don't call them, we don't call them scholarships. We don't call them, anything weird other than just a grant, because we didn't know what honestly to call it. That's the thing. Because what qualifies you is you have a child that's critically ill, that's hospitalized, and you're local. There's nothing else. I don't need your income. I don't need to know what your family makes. I don't need to know if you're employed. Our point is to let you know that there is a group of individuals in this general area that raise money, and all these people that give the money into it believe in it. And we're here to let you know we're behind you. We can support you. We're praying for you. We are your Herd. And if you know anything about herds when someone's hurt or when someone's falling behind for whatever reason, they circle around that injured and they stay there and protect them until they're able to move forward. And that's why we went with the Herd. Our point is we want to surround you. We want you to know that people are there and you're not fighting through this alone. Your child's not fighting through it alone. Yeah, we can't pay your mortgage for a year, but we can help you, with your gas money. We can help you with food while you're down there. Ronald McDonald's fantastic, but Ronald McDonald only lets so many people stay in a room. So if mom and dad have to go back to work, Grandpa may not be able to stay at Ronald McDonald. He has to get a hotel. So we can help with those type of things. And we want people to reach out and be like, I know someone. Here's their information. Because that's why we're raising this money too.
So let me ask you this. I know it's a silly question because it seems maybe a bit naive or obvious, but why are those support bags or grants for families so important during hospital stays? You talked about it like it sounds like there's one-off scenarios. Is there maybe things people don't take into consideration of extra bills? They're thinking, oh, here's what the hospital might cost. But it sounds like you guys are covering the blind spots, sort of things that you might not be aware that happen, technicalities like with Ronald McDonald House, or even just a simple gas. What does this money typically go toward, or what do you try to fund beyond the children? Talk about where it can go.
Yeah. It's where their need is. We're not in the business of giving cash. We're not giving cash to anyone. And we've not done that. But when you're in the hospital, you're running 2 households. So yeah, you've got a mortgage back home, you've got a water bill back home, you've got an electric bill back home, you've got groceries for your kids that are back home, you've got gas to get people to take your kids where they're going back home. We have an amazing community. People step up and help with a lot of those things, but also at the hospital, you're eating out 3 meals a day. Mm-hmm. You need your own shower stuff down there. You need your own towels. You need a lot of that stuff. And like I said, Ronald McDonald's a phenomenal organization. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking anything away from them. But, you're only allowed to have your immediate children, yourself, your spouse, and I believe, and it could have changed, but you're allowed 2 additional people, like 2 grandparents. So, and you're not allowed to change them. Once those are on there, that's who's on there. So if I were to put, for instance, my mom and his mom on there, but my dad was the one that was to stay that day or that night, he has to get a hotel. And that's expensive. Hotels are $200.
Especially near hospitals.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cheap hotel. And yeah, you can stay in the room and stuff like that. But still, not every hospital room has a shower. So where are you showering? And there's all those things, those situations that people, I think, take for granted that, well, you have all that. It's not always there. And hospital food's expensive too. Snacks are expensive. You're sitting there all day. Just think if you sit at home all day, you're eating more than 3 meals.
Yeah, I'm on a diet right now, so I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, kind of right now. But yes, I have been eating more than 3 meals, and that's why I'm here. Megan, I have a question for you. A lot of people think awareness is just like wearing a ribbon, right? Like they wear the ribbons and stuff to support the cause. For CHD, you're in the events, you're in the hustle and bustle, and you're really trying to grow something organically. For CHD, what does real awareness look like day to day? Like, what do you hope that people take away?
I think it's kind of, like what we do with our grants and talking with the community and letting them know exactly where the money goes and being there, not just financially giving a card or whatever it is, but reaching out to them, letting them know that the hurt is behind them. Just like the Heart Moms, they have their own Facebook community. I think that's always really important to have too, so that those moms can come together and, feed off of each other and what things are going on with their kids. But, and being a face in the community, letting them know, hey, this is what we do.
It's an education effort. I mean, that's why I'm glad you came on, because look, there's not a lot of tools at times in Mercer County. We have a newspaper, we have WCSM, nothing. These are all great. We have Facebook. But I mean, giving an opportunity to come on TwoDads Podcast, this is why we built it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we like to help people and we like to talk and we like to bring on up stars and people that are rising and people that have gone through trials and failures. Great. But we also exist to sort of help you with this education piece. And I think this is a big part of why I like this episode so personally, is because I'm so glad we could give you a platform to talk about this, because it seems like with this being the #1 birth defect, a lot more people should know about it, right?
Well, and there's so many people in our community that will have a baby. One of our friends had a baby and she has CHD. Like, you just never know when it's going to hit you. And that's what we're here for.
I love that. I love that answer. What's been the most surprising or powerful way the community has shown up for you? Is it the attendance at your events and the ticket sales? But
yeah,
I mean, Mercer County's awesome. Yeah. I always say, like, I'll never, and this is obviously related to Bill and I's got a small business. It's terrifying at times. It's nothing which you guys have gone through, and we're not trying to scale, but yeah, we were not sure if we were going to go to Maria Stein one day because we didn't know if we could sell. We didn't know if we were up against football. We didn't know we were up against, this other place was doing a charity event selling chicken. And I just said, at Mercer County, I'm leaving it to you guys. I'm going to show up. I hope you show up. It was bigger than the WOW raffle. It was like unlike anything I've ever seen. And I say that because when Mercer County gets on something, I always said this county's special. They will give you what they got, and they will support you, love thy neighbor style. What is something that's been surprising to you as you've scaled the herd that the county showed up for you guys?
We sold out this year for our event for the February 7th, 2026 event in 3 minutes.
And how many tickets is this? I mean,
There'll be 550 in attendance.
wow.
Yeah.
We sold out in 3 minutes. Last year was 8 hours.
So it's getting, I mean, 3 minutes will be tough to
Yeah.
beat.
I always go back to thinking of, sorry, Molly, like Field of Dreams. I've always had that running in my head. If you build it, they'll come, and Mercer County has shown up.
I love that sentence because I tell you what, whether it's a podcast or CHD, a fundraiser, or a chicken truck, Mercer County has always shown up time and time again.
They do. Mercer County is amazing for that. And I've said that even when we go down and, you know, the hospital has so many people that give to them and so many people that want to be involved and so many people that, you know, try to do their best. And I always kind of kept them up to date of what we're doing. And we last year had the head of all cardiothoracic surgery or all cardiothoracic research for Nationwide Children's Hospital attend our event. And he was part of the research. So I will say our event, one thing, when you come, you have to sit through a presentation because, as I said, transparency. You want to know where your money's going this year for research? The doctor that's performing it, the agreement for you to get the money is you have to show up and talk. And if you don't show up and talk, I'll find another doctor that will. Because if you can't buy into us that much, then there's no reason for me to trust you're going to use the money the way you are. Or the way you're telling me you're going to. So this year we're going to have Dr. Jessie Yester. It's her research project based upon the immune system and deficiencies in the immune system and how it's connected to heart disease in general. So not only specifically to CHD, but all types of heart disease, which is a nice type of research because it actually has fingers out to so many other things. They're even using immune therapy for deficiencies in the immune system with cancer right now. So we like to have research projects that aren't, yes, they're focused right now on this part, but they have the ability to grow beyond the heart. So when you show up, you're going to hear from the doctor. You can ask that doctor directly any question you have. You want to know where your money is? There that person is. And last year we had Dr. Garg, who's the head of the cardiothoracic research for Nationwide, show up, and he's asked to come back this year. Dr. Hart's coming this year as well, and it's not even their research project. They're coming because they're seeing what Mercer County is putting in, and in return to that, when I know we have Mercer County kids down there, I let them know, and I know for a fact they go in and check to make sure there's nothing that's needed. They may not always make direct contact with that parent, but they may ask the nurse, hey, have they been asking for anything? Is there anything we can do to help make it? But we're giving to them, and they're giving back to our kids that are going there.
That's amazing. I mean, it's touching. It's touching to say the least. Tell me about this event. So 550 tickets, that's only the people that can come. People who don't have tickets cannot come?
Correct.
Okay, so let's do this two-part. Tell us about the herd event that's sold out. Sorry about you. Coming to the next one. Maybe we'll have some more tickets. One, tell us about this event that's going on. I know Bill and I are going to be out there slinging some chicken and stuff. I've seen the post. I'm excited for it. But tell us about what they can expect at the event. And then two, if they can't attend the event and they still want to participate somehow with y'all, where they can donate their time, talent, or treasure.
Well, we have two events. So we have the event we were talking about that sold out in 3 minutes. That's in February. And but to back up a little bit, here in September 28th, what's that, like 2 weeks away? We've got an event that's totally free to anyone that wants to come, and that's for the kids. The point is to get, so many times you focus on the adults because that's where the money comes, right? And that's how you're getting the money to fund these grants, to fund the research. We wanted the kids to still be involved. You know, we had moved away from that when the 5Ks, and so we wanted to bring it back to the whole purpose we started, the kids. And so in Cold Waters Park, they have the depot there. It's on the corner of the park. It's a big shelter house. We've rented that out. We have pony rides coming. We have characters coming. You guys are slinging chicken that day.
Yeah.
We've got ice cream. We've got games for the kids, hide and seek, kind of a nod to the adult event, which is the Hidden Heart Speakeasy. We have hidden hearts around that'll be hidden. If you find with the number, you win a prize. It's all free, though. All you have to do is show up with your kids. And you can get pony rides, you can get your face painted, you can get cotton candy, whatever you want. The point is to raise awareness. These kids are out playing. You don't have to be afraid of them. They're fragile, but they're not that fragile. Mm-hmm. And to support our community and our kids that are supporting those when they actually do get into those valleys that they needed. So these are their friends from school. You don't even have to know a heart kid. You don't have to know one of the grant families. you just want to look for a nice day to come out, you're more than welcome. It's the 28th of September, 1 to 4 p.m. Everything goes on. It's all free. Just show up.
Come
That's all
on
you have to
out.
do.
Come on out.
Come out to have a good time.
Question for you, Megan. What do you hope somebody that attends that event? So one of the things that I want to ask, because some will ask it themselves, whether internally or externally, mostly internally, but like for people who have never faced CHD, they might ask themselves why they should care. I know that sounds like a dark question. Why should I care and why should it matter to me? What do you hope somebody comes, if they say, look, I like to support the community. I want to come to your event on September 28th. I want to see all the free and fun things. What do you hope they take away? What do you want them to see when they see these kids out here, or they see the environment or the community support?
Yeah, these kids are just like you. They're just like your children, and them all running around, like you said, you're never going to know. You won't even be able to pick out who's who. You'll look at a little kid and you think, oh, maybe they have the scar, maybe they don't. But I just think that having families supporting other families going through things, like I said, it's 1 in 100. This could be your child having a child one day with CHD. It could be somebody from your friend group. You just never know.
What's one myth or misunderstanding that about CHD that you'd like to clear up right now?
So it's congenital heart disease, and when people hear congenital, they automatically think this must be genetic. So I'm safe. My kids don't have it. Their kids won't get it because we don't have the genetics for it. Only 15% is actually genetics. 85% of the cases they have no understanding or no reason that they can give you as to why your child has congenital heart disease. My family and Adam's family have no history of it, and Cash has it. And they have no reason, they cannot tell us why. They don't know why it develops. Congenital heart disease develops before you even know you're pregnant. So when you find out you're pregnant, your child already has it.
Wow.
And at the 20-week ultrasound, they may or may not catch it. Cash's were all hidden. You couldn't see them on it. There is an ultrasound that can be done. So I would say out there to any family that does have history of it, ask for the additional ultrasound. There's a specialized ultrasound that can be done for heart disease. They don't do it on every kid, even though this is the number one birth defect. They don't do it on every mother and every pregnancy. That I don't know if it would have saved us or not and gave us an early detection, but it does for some, and it doesn't hurt to ask.
We had markers too. I forget. It was on my ex's side. She had some marker of a recessive trait. It goes back to Punnett squares.
Yeah.
But she had some trait that we had to get tested for, and it wasn't CHD, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's the same thing as like checking early, checking frequently, trying to be. But I think the awareness side of this is equally as important, because at least if you're aware, you know what questions to ask, right? You know what things to ask. So thank you for clearing that up. Back to you, Megan. For those listening to this podcast, obviously you have events. You have one in February and you have one in September. That's free. The February one sold out. Congratulations. What's the most practical way for someone sitting on a couch or just hanging out at home that they want to participate with the herd? Where do you send them? Where can I send potential audience and listeners?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page called The Herd. If you're looking to specifically look at what happens at the event, that is The Beat Goes On. And then also we do have a website now, so you guys can check out the website.
Website is theherdchd.com. So, and herd is HERD, like the herd of animals, just to be clear. So if anyone's typing anything in, it would be theherdchd.com. And that has everything on there as well. And if you can't find it and you're searching for it, look one of us up on Facebook. We'll send you the link. That's not a problem whatsoever.
Love that. Looking ahead 10 years, as we wind this down, and we've had a great discussion today. I really appreciate you both coming out here. What's your biggest hope for Cash, for the herd, for families who are just starting this fight? You look ahead 10 years. What do you want out of this? I know you scaled it, but
That's a loaded question.
I'm good at those.
I don't know if we have time to answer all of those. I'll answer towards Cash, and I'll let you answer for the herd.
You answer
then.
for Cash. You answer for the herd.
For Cash, my hope is his life is fruitful, successful. That he remains to be the kind, faithful little boy that he is right now. He keeps a little bit of the sarcasm and wittiness that he has.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that.
Yeah, I hope that stays around.
Between you and Megan.
But yeah, I mean, what you hope for any other kid, that's what I want for him. I want him to be that healthy, obviously. My hope is that he's the 15%. We did our surgery, we move on, and he can use this in whatever way he wants. He has a foundation, but he doesn't have to be a part of this. This can be our thing. I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. But, and before I pass it to you, I do want to say, for our committee, I do want to shout out a thank you to all of them, to Liz, to Vanessa, to Lindsay, to Kara, to Trisha, and then both of us who make up
our
the committee.
husbands.
And our husbands.
Yeah.
And the dads. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, our
Builders.
husbands put up with a lot.
Yeah.
Our grand ideas, and sometimes they look at us and roll our eyes and...
Hey, Adam was wrong about the tickets. He's no get out of jail free card here.
Yeah.
And over to you for Megan for the finale. What do you want the herd? 10 years, 5 years? What do you hope for this?
So even looking into 2027, we're already planning 2027. So the event is going to be at a bigger space so that we can accommodate more people that want to come out and show support. But also, my dream is that other people will see us, hear us, and know that even if it's not for CHD, that you can build something like this where you're giving back to your community as well. We don't mind helping other people come up with ideas. People have reached out to us before, like, hey, I want to have this type of event. Like, what are some of your resources? How do you figure this stuff out? Like, we're all about anything you're going to do to help your community and, humanity.
That's a great way to put it. And if we don't do that as a community, what kind of community are we? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the same reason that we go to bat every week when we're tired, Bill Ray. We just try to show up. You know what? We try to give you guys information, different topics, different viewpoints to make you have your own opinion. And I think you guys did great. You guys hear that though, right?
Yeah.
Now, normally I would say my lawyer makes me ask the game show people if they're okay playing, but I would say this, since we have a lawyer on site, do legal matters are...
Oh,
we're good? Everything's good? Okay,
We're good.
everything's good. Megan, you've consulted the lawyer to your right?
There was
Okay.
consent when we showed up.
Okay, perfect. The consent is...
It's signed.
Well, I've got a game show for you around law because I thought this would be fun just on the other side and just to get you back in. So this
Only
one,
know the
everybody,
criminal side.
welcome to our new game show. Yeah, you can be... So you're both get to play together. So let me get my shtick out here and then we'll play together and we'll have some good prizes. All right, everybody, welcome to our brand new game show we're calling Jail Time or Just Fine. Here's how it works. I'll throw out 10 real-life scenarios that could happen right here in Ohio. Some of them are totally harmless. Some of them will get you cuffed quicker than you think. And a few are riding that gray area in between, okay? Our guest today is an attorney, right, Molly? And Megan, you never told me what you do for a living.
So I started a small business 3 years ago, KB Collective. So
We're going to have you back on to talk about KB Collective. We love small businesses here. So we've got a small business owner and an attorney. A small business and an attorney walk into a bar. Okay, Here we go. Our guest is an attorney.
And they don't come out.
And they don't come out. That's right.
For 9 hours.
So we're going to test how sharp your legal background is. You can help her, okay? You guys are going to be working together on this to see how sharp your legal radar really is. And here's the kicker. Every time you get an answer right, we're going to donate $50 worth of free food back to the community at your herd event. So
Amazing.
$50 worth of food. You have
Don't
10
miss it.
questions. Up to $500 we will donate in free food at your event. So if she's good, people, you guys eat good. No pressure. Okay. But let's play Jail Time or Just Fine. Are you ready? You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Jail Time or Just Fine. Recording, jail time means you're going to jail. Just Fine means you're okay. Okay, here we go. Recording a phone call you're not part of, then sharing the audio with friends. Is it jail time or just fine?
I'd say jail.
She says jail.
Well, there's a lot of angles to
Sure,
this. So they're
but I'm
recording
gonna-
a phone call that they're not part
That
of.
they're not part of. And
So
then
meaning that they are not participating?
Correct.
Or they weren't there?
they weren't there.
Okay, then no, you can't do that.
That's correct. It's jail time. $50 of free chicken. Here we go. Carrying a folding pocket knife with a 3.5-inch blade in a public park. Jail time or just fine?
Just fine.
It's Mercer County. They're
What's
fine.
wrong?
Just fine. That's correct. $100 worth of free food.
Anyone's gonna.
That's just fine. Legal in Ohio since the restrictions were lifted, yada, yada, yada. Your paperwork's fine. Here we go. Parking in a handicap spot using your grandma's place card while she's not there. Is that jail time or just fine?
Oh, it's jail time.
I
Just
probably should've went to
that's
jail.
jail time. Yeah, that's jail time. Dropping off your buddy's absentee ballot at the board office for him. Is that jail time or just fine?
You're just dropping it off?
You are dropping off your buddy's absentee ballot at the board office for him.
Is it sealed?
I don't have that information.
Well, I think it's sketchy if it's not sealed.
I'm going to say unsealed then.
Then no, you can't do that.
That's correct. It's illegal. You can't do that. Only the voter or the certain family can return the ballots. That's correct. All right, you are up to $200 in free chicken at your event in September 28th. Let's go to the next. Unlocking and driving a friend's car with his permission, but no written agreement. Are you jail time or just fine?
Oh, you're fine. Totally.
You're just fine. Well done. Okay, is that $250, Bill? Okay, Bill's giving me the math over there. I'm not the math guy. I'm not the book guy either. Screenshotting a private text thread and posting it on Instagram with names blurred.
I think you're fine. It happens all the time.
Just fine. That's $300. Well done. You guys are. We're gonna. Bill, can we afford this? Okay, we're still good. Oh, fine.
Add
Fine.
5 more. All right.
Downloading an album from a torrent site and blasting it at your house party. Jail time or just fine?
The illegal downloading. So,
Oh,
no.
see, no Napster here.
No Napster here. That's going to be another $50. Well done. Okay, running a lemonade stand with your kids in your front yard without a permit. Is it just fine or jail time?
Oh, man, the kids did this. We actually had Cash's lemonade stand, and our little kids have made a lot of money selling lemonade.
Just fine.
Just fine. That's right. Here we go. That's $400 up for grabs right now. Free food at the Herd event September 28th at Coldwater's
Depot.
That's right.
It's in the Coldwater Park, Depot 1 to 4.
Perfect. We're going to say that one more time before we close. Growing 6 cannabis plants in your basement today. Is it jail time or just fine?
It's technically by weight, too, so
That's a lot of weight.
it's
Is
a
it for
lot.
your own self, or are you selling it?
You're selling it.
Oh,
No,
I'd say no.
no.
Jail time. That's right. $450. $450 in for the last $500 for you both. Filming through a neighbor's window from the sidewalk and posting it online. Jail time or just fine?
I think it's fine. I think it's funny.
I'm going to say jail time.
It's jail time.
But
All right, that's all.
I'm not her neighbor,
That's
so.
right. Yeah, you're good. She's going to be filming in your stuff later. Well, thank you guys for coming on here. We appreciate you. That's another episode of the TwoDads Podcast. Molly, you have anything to say before you go?
No, just come out September 28th, 1 to 4 at the Coldwater Depot, and we'd love to have everyone out.
Megan, anything to say before we go?
Make sure you're following The Herd on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. Go give them a follow, and you can follow for the next podcast at TwoDads Pod on all socials. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next
Thank
week
you
for
so
episode
much.
33.